I used to love looking at my childhood photos. There was always something comforting about seeing younger me smiling at birthday parties, dressed in silly Halloween costumes, or holding my parents' hands at the park. Those photos felt like proof of a happy, innocent life. But recently, everything changed. Because now, every time I look at a picture from my childhood, I don't see the same memories anymore. I see a secret, a message that someone left for me, someone who knew I would one day notice. This all started a couple of months ago when my mom asked me to help clean out the attic at my parents' house. Dusty boxes, old furniture, childhood toys, all the typical attic stuff. In the corner, I spotted a big box labeled photos. My mom said I could take them home since she was thinking of digitizing everything. That night, I sat cross-legged on my living room floor, just flipping through stacks of pictures. It felt nostalgic and warm, like visiting a younger version of myself. But then I noticed something strange on one of the earliest photos. It was a picture of me as a baby sitting in my mother's lap. My mother was smiling, but on the wall behind us, someone had written a tiny number. 3. Just a small chalk marking. It almost looked like a random scribble, but it gave me a weird feeling. A number? Why? At first I shrugged it off. Old houses have random markings. Maybe it was from painting or moving furniture. But then I found another picture. This time I was maybe 3 or 4 years old playing outside. And on the gate behind me was another number. 7. I held the two photos side by side. Number 3. Number 7. Both incredibly small, barely noticeable. And in both pictures, the markings were exactly where my eyes would naturally drift. My heart beat just a bit faster. I kept digging. In another photo, my 5th birthday party, the number 12 was drawn faintly on the back of a chair behind me. Now I was convinced this wasn't coincidence. I laid out a bunch of photos on the floor, staring at them like a detective trying to make connections. And that's when I realized the numbers were always behind me, hidden in the background, not written by a kid, not scribbled randomly, carefully placed, intentional. A chill ran up my spine. Who would mark a child's photos like that? And what were the numbers supposed to mean? I needed answers. So the next day I brought the photos to my mom. I asked her about the strange markings. She barely looked up from what she was doing. Oh, those old scribbles? Probably something left over on the walls. You know how messy houses get. But something was off. She didn't even look closely. She didn't want to. I pressed further, telling her the markings appeared in multiple photos, years apart. She shrugged again, forcing a smile. Maybe you're just overthinking it. Overthinking? No. There was a pattern, and the more she dismissed me, the more I knew she was hiding something. That night I scanned every single photo and digitally zoomed in on the backgrounds, and what I found made my stomach knot up. Every number was written in the same handwriting, small, neat, almost perfectly consistent. And then I found something that nearly made me drop my laptop. One photo. Me at the beach, around age 6. In the sand, near my feet, written faintly as if someone traced it with a stick. 18. But next to the number, initials. AR. Who the hell was AR? I felt panic creeping under my skin. Was someone stalking my family? Why would someone leave coded messages in photos of me as a child? And why did my mother pretend not to notice? I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I confronted my dad. Unlike my mom, he actually took the time to look at the photos. His eyes narrowed the moment he spotted the numbers. He tried to keep his voice steady when he asked where I found them. When I told him the attic, he immediately stood up and went straight to my mother, whispering something intense. They both looked genuinely frightened. After what felt like a heated discussion, they came back to me. My mom sat down and placed her hand over mine. Her voice was shaky. "There's something you should know," she began. My heart pounded as she continued. "When you were born, we had a close friend. His name was Andrew Russell, AR. There it was, the initials. He lived nearby and helped us a lot during your first few years," she explained. "He was brilliant but troubled at times. He believed signs and numbers could predict events, strange things, future outcomes. My dad picked up from there, his tone stern. He became obsessed with you, he said. He claimed you had some kind of destiny, that he needed to leave messages so you would one day understand. My mom clasped her hands anxiously. We cut him out of our lives because he scared us. He wasn't stable. My brain raced. So, he wrote those numbers? My parents nodded. But why numbers? What do they mean? Neither of them answered, because they didn't know, or they didn't want to say. I wanted more answers. So I did the stupid thing horror movie characters do. I searched the internet. I found an archived news article. Andrew Russell, missing person, 2004. Last seen near our neighborhood. No body found. A pit formed in my stomach. Had he gone missing because of me? I laid out all the photos again and arranged them by date taken. The numbers, 3, 7, 12, 18, they weren't random. They were increasing. Age. But they didn't match my actual age in the photos. They were always ahead. If I was 1 year old, the number behind me was 3. If I was 5, the number was 12. It felt like a countdown, or a timeline. And the last photo, taken at age 10, had the number 27. What would happen when I turned 27? I suddenly felt sick. I'm 26 now. The realization hit me like ice water pouring through my veins. Was something supposed to happen next year? Something planned years ago by a man who vanished without a trace? My parents tried to calm me, saying it was all nonsense. But I saw it in their eyes. They were scared too. That night, I woke up around 3 a.m. to a strange tapping noise at my door. Not loud, just enough to snap me into alertness. I froze, listening. Then, silence. I got up, heart racing, and opened the door. There was no one there. But at the end of the hallway, something caught my eye. A faded photo lying on the floor, one I had never seen before. It was me, sitting in the living room at around age 8, and in the background, on the wall behind me, 26, my current age. My legs nearly gave out. This photo wasn't in the attic. This wasn't part of the box I brought home. Someone placed it here. Tonight. With shaking hands, I flipped it over. On the back, written in the same handwriting. Soon. Signed. AR. I dropped the photo as panic flooded my chest. Someone had been inside my house. Someone who had been waiting for this moment. My age 26. The number before the final one. 27. What happens then? My phone buzzed suddenly, making me jump. A text message from an unknown number. When you turn 27, you'll finally see. I froze. I didn't know whether to scream, run, or cry. No matter how irrational it sounded, something deep inside me whispered that this message wasn't just a threat. It was a promise. I grabbed my keys and drove to my parents' house in the middle of the night. I didn't even knock. I just burst inside, shaking and breathless. My mom hugged me instantly, terrified, and my dad locked all the doors. We stayed up until morning. None of us slept. I've been researching everything about Andrew Russell since then. If he was alive, why hasn't he aged or changed? If he's dead, how are these messages still appearing? My 27th birthday is 6 months away. Every day since the discovery, I feel watched. Followed. Like someone is waiting. I've taped over every camera in my house. I've covered every mirror. I've stopped going anywhere alone. But even with all that, I keep finding new photos, new numbers, new notes telling me, almost time. I have no idea what's coming. I have no idea what I'm supposed to see. But one thing is certain. Whatever Andrew Russell predicted, he believed it would change everything. And if he's right, my childhood wasn't a collection of happy memories. It was a trail of clues, left behind for the day my life finally reveals its terrifying truth.